that Gangplank really punishes in the 1v1 just because she is a melee champion. When she goes to clear those barrels, he's just going to punch her right in the face.
I think you're right on the money here. Gangplank and Kennen. Could it be more obvious if they want the Poppy?
They want the Poppy and absolutely get the edge over the Vizicsacsi in that lane from MD again.
Yeah, but that means if they show their hand and if Unicorns of Love either decide to deny it or even possibly ban it, it makes Olaf such a more powerful pick simply because then you don't have that disengage available. It's just kind of one of the soft answers to it.
Okay, no
and a Poppy ban.
They're just saying screw it, so they're just going to throw everything out the window.
All right, so why?
Jace is up, so Jace is the only pick. I'm assuming that they want to say, hey, we are definitely going to pick Jace even though we didn't pick it last time. Although it would not make a whole lot of sense because MD not really the guy that plays a whole lot of Jace.
Oh, this is shaping up to be a very interesting pick and ban and a very interesting strategy when the Unicorns of Love, of course, have to ban that Syndra out and also choose to ban out Karma.
Yeah, and reminder that the Gnar is also available, so while Jace is kind of the big priority, as well as the Rise from the mid lane still left open, there are still options in terms of the top lane champion.
The piece of the puzzles rather is coming together here for Flash Wolves.
Tahm Kench getting banned away, and now the Rise is going to be the first pick for Flash Wolves. It's obviously going to be a mid-Rise. We're not going to see that one in the top lane. So Maple going to go for that one, but this is an odd shift in priority for them because the Nidalee is again available for Karsa.
But I think that the Tahm Kench is just like they want Ashe, right? The previous game you were mentioning how important the Ashe was for the Flash Wolves. Right now they're saying, all right, you want whatever you want. We are going to make sure that when we get the Ashe, that the Tahm Kench is not involved. That way we can have that Bard as well if we choose to have that lane. Although, screw it, out the window. Jhin it is. Who knows what they get.
I was just about to say, because the issue is the last time they did that, they also decided to ban the Jhin and pick away the Ashe. And again, both of those champions are pretty much interchangeable in terms of how they start fights with their ultimates. So don't prioritize the Ashe, but
with everything open in the jungle pool, the first Rek'Sai of the tournament, what is going on?
It's got to be a comfort pick. I mean, the thing with Rek'Sai is that she's still very good at finding lanes to camp and really influence them heavily.
Calm down.
By going, let's not get too excited about the hovers anymore. I think that we're not in Stanford versus Berkeley anymore, so we can expect the Olaf to be the correct pick.
Yes.
I think it's either going to be that Olaf or that Nidalee. We did see him hover back over that one, so it still is innately possible that we see that locked in for Karsa. Had a very good game on it. You know, just last game, played it again in game 1 versus Longshu, so I think that he could go back to that one. I'm interested that the Jhin was the pickup here, because the Ashe is still available and there's not a Tahm Kench, so if you see the curtain call go up, you send out the Enchanted Crystalline Arrow and suddenly there's no more curtain call.
It's not just there, it's also the fact that Ashe works really well as kind of a counter to Jhin, just because if she does tap him with that arrow, it's going to completely deny his ultimate, but also the fact that you have the opportunity to take the Olaf. Olaf is known as a great pick into the likes of Jhin and Ashe because they are so immobile, he could just rush to that backline. So that's kind of two picks where Unicorns of Love had the opportunity to take something away or deny it from Flash Wolves and gave it away instead for comfort picks. Again, Move is known as kind of a control-oriented jungler, not necessarily a carry-oriented jungler.
So I think that with that control of the Rek'Sai, it becomes very obvious of what their game plan is. Rek'Sai with Bard is even more deadly than Olaf Bard because that means that they can go even over more walls to get behind your opponents. And when you have that in combination with the Cassiopeia, we actually did get to see Exile against Cassiopeia in their match against INTZ versus Talkers, which he completely bodied. And if he is able to replicate a similar performance, but this time with the Rek'Sai, hopefully he gets blue buff, hopefully we see some ganks from behind into the Rise, and this could be a very action-packed game.
It also offers a lot more safety for that Jhin in the backline. The fact that Cassie will be sitting next to him, yeah, the Olaf can still run through and get down there, but there's that many more members to try to burn him down.
And now we are going to see the top lane pick coming out as well. And of course, they've pinched the top lane pool themselves, so they probably have something in mind, as well as the support pick still need to come out from the side of the Flash Wolves. And it does seem to be Echo and Zyra to round up that composition.
I mean, Echo, great top lane pick.
Oh, last second swap.
That is sick. Who does
Never mind.
I mean, this is classic Sword Art as far as this pick goes. It's one that he's very comfortable playing with, so I'm really surprised that he's going to go for it today, but I'm also really excited to see him play this again.
What I really like about the Thresh pick, I mean, obviously it works well with Ashe. Again, low mobility, you have the Dark Passage, you're able to help her out, but more importantly, it should keep Hilly locked down in the lane. Not because it's going to push against him, but because it can really threaten against Veritas. You know, if that Jhin is locked up, it's much more dangerous for him to be in the lane by himself, which means that he should need a babysitter to hang out with him.
I love that you bring that point point up, because if you make sure that Bard has to stay in the lane, you already mitigate some of that pressure that Jin can utilize to just be by himself, to be Mia, because you need Bard to be there to babysit him. And the Thresh also offers such an incredible amount of CC that is just so obnoxious to deal with. And more importantly, against the likes of Rek'Sai, Flay will immediately cancel the burrow from Rek'Sai, the tunnels, which means that her ganking opportunities, and any time that she tries to engage, if Thresh is there, it will be completely thwarted.
And a quite logical ending to the pick and ban phase for the Unicorns of Love. With those 3 top lane bans and the Echo picked away, they are going to go to Gnar for Visit Chachi, which has been traditionally and historically in the EOLCS a very good Gnar as well, but we're going to have to see what they can do. Curveballs upon curveballs proving that we know nothing.
Should be noted, though, that Maple has played a unique champion for every single game.
Well, we'll see what the casters think of this because, well, we were caught off guard a little bit. So, guys, what do you think?
We don't know what to think. Shocks, I think that's the impression that I got from speaking to you gentlemen during the pick ban. This is very interesting. Flashful picking some interesting bans, taking the entire top lane pool offline, and then seemingly getting every powerhouse meta pick available.
Yeah, I don't know how you get Ryze, Olaf, Ashe all on the same team. Nothing was taken away. The Rek'Sai is the really confusing thing for me. Why would Move pick that so early on in the draft? It's not contested. It just means they wanted to hide even more, because otherwise there's no reason.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head, Sifa. It's just mostly about the fact that the first pick came in, they were fishing for something. It was probably the Ryze, that was their first pick. But then because the second draft, or the first draft on the side of the red side, included a Rek'Sai that certainly wasn't going to be competed for in any way, they were in no way punished for the fact that they basically sacked their bans to get Ryze. Usually it's like, okay, we really want Ryze, and then you're giving up something like the Olaf and another power pick. They get 3 of the biggest power picks on this patch, champions that have been frequently banned, and that's just a really big price to pay for Unicorns of Love.
Of course, the Unicorns have found success. Cassio into Ryze in the past. Exile has proven to be a pretty big monster in that match. But the question is, can he do it against Maple the same way that he did against Talkers and INTZ? Very, you know, the potential for snowball here is real. So frequently we've seen control mages going back and forth, very passive, very stalled out mid lanes. But both of these mid laners have the potential to kill each other at any moment.
And really intriguing to see the return of the Thresh as well. Sword Art Special obviously does provide that pick power. Ryze root, the Ashe arrow, Thresh can combo with all those things. So there's a lot of pick CC here from Flash. It was just interesting to see that Thresh was the option with a lot of other supports available.
Yeah, UOL also has a lot of pick CC themselves with the Bard, with the long range from the Jhin and able to pick off. So I'm willing to see, or I want to see, sorry, I'll be willing to watch it too. I want to see who they're going to pick off, and who gets out of position here and who is not actually staying with their team, because that's going to be very important in this matchup.
And then I think Move has to vindicate the ultra comfort pick. There's nothing else to say about Rek'Sai on patch 621 other than just comfort for Move in particular. Sure, it's well-trodden territory talking about the synergy between Rek'Sai and Jhin, just because Rek'Sai, Seeker hits, Jhin can hit the Deadly Flourish. Very easy setup and initiation CC. But on this patch, Rek'Sai has been deprioritized to an insane degree. So Rek'Sai still has creative pathing. A bit like the Shaker that was hovered for so long can come over walls. We need to see Move go crazy in the early game.
You're playing with my heart.
Playing with your emotions.
We got to see the Summoner spell change, and it just baited me even further. But Flashwolves do pick the Thresh. They do mix it up a little bit in the support department, but Unicorns of Love, of course, the question remains for Move in the jungle. It is that comfort pick. As Papa Smithy said, it has creative potential, but it's just not the powerhouse that most junglers are.
Yeah, it's comfort as well. Just Move loves that champion, and he loves the style where he's going for vision more than anything else. And Rek'Sai gives you free vision with the Tremor Sense, just roaming around the jungle. And last time, Karsa ended up punishing Move for being in his jungle, and Move got caught out, and that was the very first blood that we saw when he had to go underneath turret as Olaf. So Move, with the Tremor Sense, it won't happen again in that same way, because you'll be able to see Karsa coming.
Absolutely. A little bit more utility there. Has the knockup as well. Good tools to set up the team. The Prey Seeker into the potential root from the Deadly Flourish on Jhin. So a lot more chain CC opportunities. Kind of the Wombo combo built up here, but honestly have to respect the Flashwolves composition. So much raw power between the Ashe, the Ryze, and the Olaf.
Exciting to see Ryze on the Rift. You know, once again, Ryze has been reworked and deemed first ban, first pick worthy.
Every
the version's so flexible. I really like how the Ryze vs Cassiopeia matchup in particular has evolved. This is always heavily to the side of Cassiopeia, a hard counter for most of the iterations of Rise. But because of the flexibility, now you can choose, do I want that longer route duration? Do I want to have the shield on command, which obviously is very helpful when you go for trades? You'll still lose trades to Cassiopeia. That's not mince words. But it goes from a 90-10 matchup to a 70-30, and that's already pretty good because otherwise you get the flexibility of having Rise and now his global presence on the map.
Yeah, and Rise, even on top of that, now has earlier access to wave clear. He has the option or even the possibility to shove into Cassiopeia, whereas before it wasn't that way at all. He had to actually kind of just take Cassiopeia's attacks over and over again for the laning phase and get shoved in. Now he can fight back.
The power of Spell Flux allowing for that early wave clear should make the lane phase a lot more comfortable. Sword Art consistently going for these aggressive trades, but Double Red seems to be on a different page, not going for the auto attacks.
Probably to be not to be expected that it is, again, a duo lane building synergy.
Of course, we've heard that Double Red has been a part of the team for a while, a substitute on the roster, but as you've said, not as much chances to play on the big stage. But Double Red having solid performances thus far. Have to see if we can keep it up in game 2. Flash Wolves have to be feeling pretty comfortable coming into this, up a game already. We ran into them on our break, and they were all laughing. I wish I spoke any Chinese so I could have, you know, learned anything from that encounter, but definitely having a good time.
Yeah, after a troubling series in the last one, sure, they went through 2-0, but of course there were the pauses, there were the gaps in momentum. It's good to see them still in high spirits. They should be. One game up against a team that is in their first final of all time. Flash Wolves, you look at them, they've been in so many finals, mostly domestic, but still have made their mark on international competition. Unicorns of Love with it all to prove.
It's the first time that Unicorns of Love are facing a team that isn't a wildcard North American or European team. They're actually playing outside of their comfort zone here, and this is a style that they may not be used to. Flash Wolves, we talk about how they get to scrim Chinese teams as well as teams from the LCK and Korea. So this is kind of that blend where, you know, it might be a little bit slower, but they also take advantage of your misplacements, and it's just very quick once it hits that mid game, and then it slows down again, and they play a really, really calculated late game. It's kind of an awkward thing to play against, but if you haven't played against it before, it could be an issue.
Move. Oh, walking forward, looking potentially for the double knockup. Does hit Sword Art. Sword Art left out and alone. Hylissang comes over the wall. Veritas is here as well. Chain CC and Burst Blood drops for Unicorns of Love.
First step towards vindicating the draft on the Rek'Sai. This is the sort of thing that Rek'Sai is uniquely strong at. Has that tremor sense, can come over walls. Really nice play there. And crucially, Move doesn't even have to flash, so he can still go for those much more powerful mid lane ganks when you have the flexibility to either flash first or tunnel first and have extra mobility to reposition.
Another great thing about this Rek'Sai is he gets to hand off the blue buff early to a tier Cassiopeia that just backed and picked it up, so it's a great timing here for Exile.
Really solid play coming in from the Unicorns of Love in the early game, getting all of these small advantages on top of the first blood as well, approaching a 1K gold advantage. But while things in the bot lane seem to be going very well, 32-23 as Ash will recoup most of the differential there. Top lane remains even, mid lane as well, very even thus far. Both parties seeming content to stack up that tier, although posturing quite aggressively.
Start to see some of those trades that have developed.
Pushing forward, throwing down, gets the poison, looking for resets. Karsa coming in. Not going to connect on the axe, looking for the reset.
Needs to be careful too.
Nice movement coming in from Exile.
That was awesome. So Exile actually played to the side of the Rek'Sai, and Flash Wolves, they respected that. They were like, all right, you know what, you're playing like your junglers over here, and then they stopped immediately. They didn't actually continue to chase. Maple didn't use any summoner spells at all. Now he's just trying to push out and make sure that he can get at least a good back here, and Exile can't freeze. But it's actually not going to be enough. That's actually going to be frozen towards Exile, if I see that correctly.
Has to give up the Ghost, but the cooldown, of course, relatively low on this patch. And, you know, pretty comfortable just continuing to push out the mid lane here as well. Rise under pressure in the early game. And, you know, level 6 for Rise, not going to offer the boon of combat stats, but the Petrifying Gaze, all powerful in the hands of Exile.
I think most of the time when we see those early blue buff transfers, we can't see an appreciable advantage that was got from having the early blue. Maybe some wave clears kept up. But the fact that Exile effectively 1v2'd, I mean, the reason why Castle was drawn was not actually to get a successful kill, that would have been lovely, but the real reason was to allow Rise to push out just to get a recall in. Instead, Exile outduels, controls the lane exactly as he wishes to, and gets maximum value from the blue buff.
Yep, ends up pushing it out really quickly afterwards and denies a little bit of CS there. So that's why he has about 6 CS as an advantage. Gets a nice back off, but also in the top lane, both TPs were just used here. Vizicachi with a little bit of a level advantage over NMD, but it won't last for too much longer.
They see the ward die on the bottom side, and they're waiting in the brush, hoping Sword Art will get aggressive as he did in the early levels, but Flash Wolves tempering the aggression here. In goes the portal, maybe looking for the setup. Double Red is caught out, he's all alone. Ooh, nice setup, but the knockup comes through. Sword Art's in trouble, Move is knocked back under the tower. He's in trouble. Blood coming in for Karsa, Hylissang, and Veritas. Now on the back foot, can they fight this out? It does not look like it. Karsa happy to just walk up to the axe, pick it up, look for the resets. Hylissang not going to drop. The auto goes in, but it's not enough.
Big mistake from Karsa. Throwing the axe short means they don't pick up the kill. They were smelling blood. They thought there could be a triple kill there shared among the 3 members, but it's only the 1.
And that was also Double Red flashing forward, not getting anything for it there, and Hylissang getting away. I mean, Hylissang, let's talk about it. That guy has actually been playing fantastically all week.
Veritas turning it around.
The curtain call. Just barely out of range.
Delaying the backs a little bit, and now they have to shove out. Hylissang even comes up to help him clear the wave faster. Look at this. They end up interrupting their recalls, and they're bringing Olaf down here once more. Karsa is in the area. He has Ghost. He has Ultimate.
Pink ward.
This might be them dead, but nope.
Going to back off, just settles to take the pink ward advantage, clearing out a little bit of vision on the bottom side, but the spot lane already explosive.
Yeah, but they saw him there. Boom. Rek'Sai towards the top side. Blue buff may go over to him.
Rise needs that in this match. It may have the tier for mana, but of course can't afford to get this. Move only level 5 to Karsa's level 6. Should get the level 6 here, however. You can see the purple experience bar in the bottom corner ticking up. Exile going to move over, grab another blue buff, continue to apply so much pressure in the mid lane, almost a 20 CS advantage in its favor.
Just such high uptime on the blue buff as well. Got the first donation, now getting a second donation from the other side. Really difficult for Rise, even as we said, a better matchup, but hard to hold up to this Cassiopeia.
It's also going to be even worse because the way that Rek'Sai ends up doing the jungle is you delay before you do your blue. So these are actually staggered blue buffs. As soon as this one wears off, Move's blue buff is actually going to be back up, and there'll be another one going over to Exile. So it'll be 3 pretty much in a row without any winning downtime there.
Exile continues to posture forward. Maple doing his best to clear out these waves safely and looks relatively comfortable in the lane, though, despite all of the small advantages going in favor of Exile. You did see the ghost burn from Karsa. Not a whole lot gained in that exchange, but surprisingly, Move keeping up with the Olaf here, despite the insane clear speed that Olaf brings to the table, and Rek'Sai not even going for the early Tiamat.
Worth noting that Move has spent a lot of Karsa spent a lot of time around lanes. You know, hasn't been focused on power farming like we might have seen another jungle like Crash, for example, often do stylistically. So just hasn't put himself in the position. Been focusing more on creating and relieving pressure, mostly around the bot lane.
Exile now getting cheeky, sees the red buff is respawning. Move behind Karsa. Ragnarok is available. He's just going to try to make this one out. That's a lot of damage. Exile moves forward. He wants to keep this ball rolling, and Maple is slowed down the snare. Oh. He has to flash to safety. Unicorns of Love, big moves on the bottom side.
Really nice team play as well. Everyone knew their role. They even forced the extra flash out because the Jhin had pushed up. Really nice team play from the Unicorns of Love.
Exactly. This is a team play all across the board because that's going to be another red buff coming around. That's going to be division denial in the jungle, and Move. This Rek'Sai is actually paying off so well. All of his lanes have CS advantages because he's going in, he's warding up, he's making sure that his lanes are safe, and then he's actually applying pressure. And every time Karsa shows himself, you have to assume that your other side of the jungle is warded. You get spotted out the next time you're there, and then they keep going back and forth. So they are actually keeping so much in terms of tabs on Karsa.
And you just come back to the Rek'Sai fight with question it, but what you can tell from this match is how easy Unicorns of Love return to playing with a Rek'Sai. They clearly have practiced extensively around this champion. Everyone did throughout the year, but maybe even recently, this is probably still a scrim special because they move as if it's a pre-planned move. The pressure move is
Veritas trying to get the setup. Nice. Locks up really two. Nice. Going to back out. Exhaust used in the end. Rek'Sai is there, but he's low from fighting the dragon. Hylissang caught out. Will he get into the portal? Can't make it out. Reckless swing. Going to keep Karsa open on the kill. Unicorns of Love barely making out with the dragon.
Yep, ended up trying to kite that way. Veritas and Hylissang were trying to get out and trying to head towards where they had their jungler, but Move was doing the Drake and really just wanted to finish it.
Oh, Exile caught out. Maple potentially looking for a little bit more. Maple now running for his life. Knows he can't afford the 1v1. Now, Exile in complete control of the mid lane, but Flash Wolves have control of the bottom side. MMD Messes up the phase dive, has to flash over the wall. Chachi still with the flash available. Is he going to push for more? Echo has the ult, is going to snap back. Vision in the bush means he's not going to dodge any of those auto attacks. Chachi grabbing the solo kill.
Really nice stuff from Chachi. No Trinity Force yet, so not at the point where MMD can really fight against the Gnar. Wails away, takes him down. Unicorns of Love still keep their noses in front.
And this is a big issue for the Flash Wolves moving forward because they have 2 losing lanes in their solo lanes. Right here, Move looking to punish this. He knows there's no flash on Maple. Move has his own flash, and there we see it.
Knockup comes in, not facing the right way, but it doesn't matter. Exile pushing in for more. Flash forward, gets 1 Twin Fang, 2. That's going to be the kill, and Unicorns of Love now on the mid lane tower.
Really nice roaming. Hylissang is unlocked, even though Jin was zoned off the turret. They want first brick as well, and Unicorns of Love piling on the advantages.
The Cassio play coming in from Exile is absolutely unstoppable.
Oh, and they wanted to give him first turret blood. Let's see if it goes down. They have to split it. Have to stick around. Has to have Hylissang stay there.
Hylissang likes the gold, man. We've learned. Likes the big impact.
He's really just helping, you know.
I'm here to back you up just in case, man. I'm not here for the 300 gold, I swear.
And no one's getting punished across the map on the side of Unicorns. You saw on your screen Veritas able to get the last hits, even though he was zoned before. Actually ahead in CS against opponent Double Red. So despite playing around bot side, Karsa and other members, things still going relatively well for the Unicorns 80 carry.
Yeah, and even across the board, you go to the top lane, Vizicachi, he got the TP out of MMD to return to the lane after the solo kill. Vizicachi has his own to possibly make a play in the future here.
Chachi now pressuring in on the top side. Echo will make it back, but not before a little bit of damage goes onto the tower. Almost a 4K gold lead in favor of the Unicorns. Echo doing his best to clear out what he can, but we were skeptical of the draft coming in from the Unicorns. Looked like a lot more comfort than raw power, but comfort appears to be paying off here.
It just makes you think of future games. Like, you come into game day, let's assume Unicorns, they carry it through, they pick up the win. Do you ban Rek'Sai? It sounds like a weird thing to do. We've seen weirder, but it sounds like a weird thing to do. But it's just the cleanness, or the clean approach they had invading the red, where everyone knew their role, they were all practiced, they all came up. It's one of those things that makes you think that if that playbook, that single playbook is so strong, why not just force them to abandon it?
Yeah, it's also possible that they pick it for themselves. Karsa was a good Rek'Sai player very recently, right? I'm pretty sure he hasn't fallen out of practice. Rek'Sai's kind of like riding a bike. It's really easy.
It's just one of those things.
Once you played it once,
you think back to Worlds, you know, we got to semifinals, everyone's like, I don't know anything about Ashe. I don't think Ashe is in the meta. And suddenly teams were first picking Ashe away from each other in SKT Rocks. It's crazy to think that Rek'Sai gets there, but we have these preconceived notions about what the meta champions do, what other ones don't do.
Oh, MMD in trouble. May get the chance to snap back here. But Chachi continuing to throw down so much pressure. Ult traded for ult.
Yeah, and the fact that there's priority from Exile, you see he roams away from the mid lane. This will give him priority on top side, possibly to kill MMD, or just get the blue buff, get another buff. They've taken every single blue buff away, except for that first one.
They actually took both buffs from the last respawn. The red buff went over as well, and now it's going to be the 4th blue buff, I believe, that Cassiopeia has been running. This is when Karsa Maple really starts to tilt. It's when you don't get any of the first 3 blues.
Yeah, you're like, he has a tier, I have a tier, and the difference, well, let's see right now. 452 to 296. So Maple pretty far behind, 150. He got his a little bit later, too.
And of course, on top of the blue buff, MMD not having TP in that exchange means that much more damage has gone into the tower. And it's just a matter of time before it falls over. Not going to take a whole lot, especially as Chachi continues to bully out here on the top side.
And I like that Exile actually puts the extra gold into picking up a QSS just to ensure the trades will continue to go in the advantage of the Cassiopeia.
Yeah, a lot of the times the Cassiopeia players will take cleanse, but cleanse, you only get to cleanse off 1-2 second route from the rise. So it's really all about, hey, you know what, I want to have that. And also the Ashe arrow is very important. You want to take the cleanse for that, but he really wants Ghost for the solo kills.
And the amusing thing is that because we don't see the QSS on Cassio very much outside of maybe a Malzahar matchup, the big thing you can say is that, of course, Cassiopeia doesn't have to itemize for boots. So theoretically, even the late game has an extra item slot where you can waste it, I say in inverted commas, on something like QSS instead of ability power. So actually has more freedom than traditional mages in picking up the QSS.
Should be pretty comfortable. Even if it has to swap it out for a damage item in the late game, shouldn't hurt. Maybe you'll go full Mercurial Scimitar for the extra lifesteal.
Eventually.
Bit of attack damage there too. Movement speed boost.
That's my favorite late game tank build, is when they're like, all right, well, we need the QSS, and I have an extra 5,000 gold. We might as well turn it into something. Of course, Karsa doing what he can to clear out the vision in the jungle. That pink ward has been active for at least 5 minutes now, so should be pretty happy to clear that one out, but Move and Hylissang, while they see him on the top side, are now free to move in on the bottom side. Unicorns Love completely in control of the game, setting the pace thus far, and no surprise to see a 4.5K gold lead, making it easy. Karsa stepping forward. Miasma goes down. Don't think we're going to see any follow-up here, but Hylissang is ready.
Unicorns Love continue to pile on pressure. The next Drake spawns in 20 seconds, so for now that seems to be pretty academic for the side of Unicorns.
And that's another Cloud Drake as well for UOL. They currently have one, after the one that was picked up very early on.
While we're focused on mid lane, and Exile is playing so well, and it's this exciting matchup, every time we look top, well, looking mid now, just in case it's a solo kill, but every time we look top, you can see Gnar essentially just face tanking Echo's damage and just winning trades in mini form. This is devastating. Oh, setup here though.
Olaf on the bot side.
We're looking for more. Move is stepping forward. Don't know if they can afford the dive. Oh, Hylissang caught out. Maybe looking for a little bit more. Exhaust does go down. Move can look for the knock up. Karsa, though, just going to use the Ragnarok to step away. TP from Gnar is mega. Has the potential to come in. Echo's here as well. Hylissang's going to make it out. Karsa over the wall, but he's guaranteed to get stunned. You don't follow a Bard. Curtain call. One shot Exile's going in. Two dodged out by MFD. Maple on the backside. Chachi now in trouble with Veritas. Grabs a kill. Exile popping off. Looking to take down Double Red, but the fancy footwork not enough. Double kill for Veritas.
And only one goes down. Amazingly, it wasn't Hylissang. It was actually Visit Chachi going for the big engage and taking focus fire. But massive rotation for Unicorns of Love. It's going to be another turret for them as well. Nothing Maple can do. Unicorns of Love, the power plays with this comp against the dream team that Flash Wolves have put together. It's working out.
Well, maybe a dream team, but the fact that they had counters for both the Echo and the Ryze, the Cassiopeia and the Gnar, they have lanes that you can leave alone. You keep sending your jungler into the jungle to deal with Karsa. Karsa has to help these lanes if they want to win, and the fact that he isn't able to and he has to keep going bottom or elsewhere, that means that those one-on-ones, they just keep perpetually losing. They get priority to go the other lanes faster. You get to get out of vision earlier and get to TP and be proactive.
3-0-2 for both of the carries, Exile and Veritas, having a fantastic fight there. Unicorns of Love honestly looking unstoppable in these last few skirmishes, making the aggressive calls, but as we sort out the pause here as quickly as possible, we will take a chance to look at some of the replays from earlier in this game, specifically this last fight.
You can see just the priority that is here. You see Ryze and Cassiopeia leave at about the same time, which normally you wouldn't be able to do that. Karsa just keeps chasing him down. It's a really good teleport here. Sword Art does the right move of actually throwing his hook backwards to protect Double Red. But the fact they don't even get Hylissang, and here Exile arrives even faster than Maple. Maple has the rank 2 ultimate, doesn't end up using it at all to try and get in even faster, and that gives Exile the inside track.
Yeah, Maple wasted a lot of time trying to kill the Gnar, eventually got it, but of course couldn't help his team in any other way. Back to live, and Flash Wolves have no time to stand back and lick their wounds. We saw Flash Wolves last game, if you recall, having that time to wait. We didn't see the initiations coming in from Unicorns of Love. And Flash Wolves, they made the decisive moves. But this gold lead, it's ballooning out of control early. Remember, we're not even 20 minutes. Rift Herald's still on the map. And it's over a 7,000 gold lead.
Terrifying to play against. Move making his way in to clear out some vision. Sword Art and Karsa not going to make it so easy. But the arrow going wide is not at all what Flash Wolves need. And no longer is there the victor. No longer is there this safe wave clear. So Flash Wolves, they have a great wave clear with the Ryze, but he has to approach the wave, and I don't know if he's going to have that luxury.
I mean, it's not just that he has to approach the wave, it's a rotation of spells. He has to wait an extra few seconds, and you might think, okay, 3 seconds, 2 seconds, whatever it is, it's not a big deal. But when you're Victor, you can walk over to a wave, mouse over it, wave clear, and leave. You don't have to stick around for the extra rotation, so you're predictable as Ryze, and there's a lot of CC, especially when Move, like someone like Move, has Flash to catch out that Ryze.
Yep. Exile going in, doesn't even care. Maple set to fall, Twin Fang, double damage proc to close it out.
Got his Flash on top of it as well there, so Maple, it's going to look even worse for him moving forward. The Cassiopeia, the combo, ulti into Miasma, they can't flash away right there. They have to take all that damage, and they're poisoned.
And you never see people dictate to dictate to Maple like Exile is doing in this game. This guy is embracing the limelight that comes in playing his first international tournament and doing it just amazingly.
His first finals as well, right? We're talking about a raw rookie here, guy who's only been playing in the professional scene for 1 split. It's absolutely incredible because Maple, he's been battle tested. We've seen him at Worlds multiple times, 3 years. That's crazy, that fact that every time Maple comes in, we're like, this Maple-Karsa duo, really damn good. Somebody has to deal with it because they dominate mid lane. Exile, he's able to deal with this right now.
And the amount of experience he has at such a young age is absolutely insane. But even all that experience doesn't matter in the face of this Casio. Exile clearly comfortable in piloting it. And we're seeing, yeah, it's that 70-30, but that 70 is a hefty number to overcome.
Yeah, for some people it's experience, but the one thing you learn from here is temperament. There's a lot of potential excuses you could give Exile underperformed at this tournament. Oh, he's a rookie. Oh, you know, it's his first time traveling for an international event. There's none of those have come to pass. He has been on point for the majority of the games, and he continues to do that even under the lights of the final.
And I think that's a very interesting thing to talk about as well, because we talk about, oh, those would be excuses if he wasn't performing well. But now I think because he's performing well, we say despite those things, he is performing well, despite being a rookie, despite this being his first time in a finals, despite the fact that he's going up against somebody of the caliber of Maple, he is still thriving.
Of course, now getting back into game. But the game very heavily in favor of UOL after a pretty crushing defeat. Looks like they are not feeling shattered whatsoever.
And I'm really excited to see, let's assume Unicorns will love stick the line. I'm really excited to see the draft in Game 3 because Flash Wolves basically gave up their bans to reach for priority picks, and Unicorns love like, okay, counter picking in lanes, going with the Rek'Sai that people thought was completely out of the way, and going to dominate. And if they can, especially if they continue in this fashion, you know, dominating the Flash Wolves, suddenly we're going to have to see a bit more attention paid to the pick and ban from Flash Wolves in Game 3.
I would even say the Gnar is something that you don't expect to come out. You left Jace on the board, you take Echo and you ban 3 other champions, so you have to kind of expect that that's the one coming out, or that the Jace is, but the Gnar is something that may have not been accounted for here because it is quite good into Echo.
What I will say is that both these teams have done their homework. One of the notes I had pre-series was that, oh, both these teams banned Jace on blue and red side. Just like SKT in the past would ban Nidalee on blue and red side, the first thing you think is, okay, these teams don't play that. And while Bengi answered that criticism, if we continue to see, let's say we see 5 games in this series, if we continue to see Jace left open, someone will pick it eventually because the power level is super high on that champion. MMD, he had been playing it in solo queue during Worlds, so clearly these guys have played the Jace. They don't favor Jace comps, but when the power level's that high, someone has to grab it.
I think that's the big thing, is these teams don't favor Jace-type compositions. They favor a tank in the top lane. They favor somebody very bruisey. It's not really Vizichachi's style as a playmaker, somebody who loves things like the Shen. We even saw him on Gangplank, which was kind of a far cry from the style that he usually likes to play. And MMD, it's the same story. And right now, people are considering Jace as somebody who doesn't do quite well into tanks. He'll beat them in the first few levels, but then eventually just his TPs are not as effective as every other champion that you would play in the top lane.
Shout out to the audience cheering for the pause. Much appreciated.
That's better than ward kills.
Don't get them started.
Of course, waiting to get back into game, but you saw relatively calm thus far. But now at the 22-minute mark, Flash Wolves have to be painfully aware of the potential for a Baron attempt here. Exile is the Casio, the insane amount of sustained damage that can come out.
And the items are just, you know, overflowing on the side of Exile and the rest of the Unicorns of Love. He went for the early QSS, has now just finished Archangels. Then you look on the side of Flash Wolves, MMD's a long time away from being relevant. We've already seen 6-item Echo struggle to be relevant in team fights. 6-item's looking a long, long way away when you just have Boots and the Trinity Force, just a pure damage threat. And speaking of damage, Unicorns have an unbelievable amount of Baron damage.
Yeah, they're going to do it with just 2 members here, movable tank. And then as soon as it gets to about half HP, they'll pull in the Jhin, and then that's kind of the jig is up.
Oh, speaking of jig being up, Olaf is in the area.
Oh, he's running straight towards it.
Have to trade tank here. Can he steal it away? Oh, he gets it in the end. Karsa now potentially the one in trouble. Hylissang has already used the ultimate. They're going to back off, but Unicorns of Love get another early Baron.
Throws down the ultimate and almost gets himself in there. Karsa throwing down the Ghost. And then another pause.
Round of applause. Round of applause. I agree. I agree. That Baron take was good.
Yeah, it was actually quite good, quite clever. I don't know how long they've had to actually plan that one out. Something's brewing in their minds.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing you can say is that a shot caller gets a lot of time to consider what the next move is.
Yeah.
Of course, don't get to talk to each other, but the second it starts up again, you'll be like, all right, we're doing this.
It's happening. The luxury.
Of course, one of the big things about Casio, when she's so far ahead of the clock, so often we see it being Mountain Drakes that allow her to do that so quickly, but when she's got this many items this early on...
Turns out solo kills are pretty good too.
10k gold in the Casio pocket, a 3k lead over the Rise, so no surprise that she pretty much can take on anyone at this stage of the game.
And you just start to worry. I mean, I was speaking about items a bit before. You know, Veritas, he's got the standard. You know, he's got the Yoma's Ghostwave. He actually went for the rapid fire second. Then you look over on MMD. He's got Ninja Tabi. There's no other armor item on anyone else on the squad. So we know about the early power spikes that someone like Jin can put out. May not be the Duskblade with the Yomas, but still a flat armor penetration against almost no answer on the side of Flash Wolves. There's no Braum. They went for the Thresh. I don't know who Thresh is hooking, because whoever he's hooking is probably turning around and killing people on the side of Flash Wolves.
Not at all where they want to be. Of course, you have the Black Cleaver as well, so even when that armor starts to come in, because Gnar is so far ahead, it's going to be worth so much less. Have to know that the team fight's clearly favoring the Unicorns of Love, the split push in favor of the Unicorns of Love. Everything is stacked in their favor, but the question now remains, can they close out with confidence? We did see a lot of back and forth in the previous game, very extended, despite the Flash Wolves leads coming in there.
But there was touching distance, right? Unicorns were winning for parts of the first game, but there was touching distance to the extent where Flash Wolves were strong enough as a five-man group to put pinks, to actually have defensive vision around Baron. They were nowhere near that strength here, so on spawn or just a minute after Baron, and they've actually been able to take that big objective that eluded them through the course of game one.
22.5 minutes, and you already have Baron, and it was a two-man Baron to boot. That's actually insane. That's how far ahead they are right now, is 2 levels up for Exile, close to that level 16, hitting 15, and Vizicachi, same thing for him in that top lane. And these are just some great picks here that they've been able to pull out and get as counters. And that first pick Rise, I don't know if we'll see it again unless you can get rid of Cassiopeia. It's just so strong as a counter.
So, I mean, let's take this opportunity, as we do have hopefully a brief break here, but let's talk a little bit about draft coming into this, because I feel like so often the prevailing wisdom for like a baseline level for best of strategies, if it's not broke, don't fix it. You can just come in with the same game plan. If it worked in game one, rinse and repeat here, but Flash Wolves completely mix it up. We're seeing comfort picks now prevail. Do you think we're going to continue to see the trend of banning out top lane? What really has to change here?
I mean, the bans in this game are peculiar at minimum, bizarre at most. It's one of the things where I'd love to talk to Stake and be like, all right, game 2 of this series, you know, maybe in a couple of months he'll be ready to speak about it. You know, what was the thought process here? Because he's basically banning out Poppy counters, then banning Poppy on Blue's side, and you're just like, okay, I guess you really want something to get the Rise. You can sort of follow that far, but there's so many other things they could have done, more balanced draft that would have helped them. Same thing I felt about the Velcros that ended up being, I guess, not enough an advantage for Unicorns of Love to take in game 1. So I feel like the drafting's been bizarre, and I'm waiting for a couple more games, and especially how they respond to a loss to see how big an adjustment Flash Wolves will make.
Exactly, because when you're in that situation, you don't have to ban the Poppy. You leave Poppy and Rise up. Maybe UOL decide to ban one of them themselves, and then you get the other. Or you test UOL, see if they're smart enough to actually deviate from whatever plan they had, and if they ban neither of them, then you pick whichever one you think is stronger.
And while it's easy to see how Unicorns of Love can pull out a win here, a massive lead backing them up, I want to ask, what can Flash Wolves do? What options are left to this lineup? Although we're going to have to hold that thought. A little action does come in, and Move is going to get stunned up, although we'll buffer out.
I mean, they can wait, right? They can scale. There is still a world where they can be competitive. It's just with the items they land, they really can't do anything. They're the ones being dictated to. It's not just the Baron, it's also the gold, it's the advantages. If they can find some gaps in the vision, sure. Try and pile on, kill someone, force Unicorns of Love to back away, but that's the most you're going to hope for.
Oh,
Realmore comes in, delivering in, but the arrow misses. Chachi just going to flash out, does have the frozen mouth, but they are going to look for the pick here. Cassio's on the bottom side in the meantime, but Chachi is set to fall. Veritas throwing in a bit of poke. The remaining members, out comes the curtain call, denying any potential option to maneuver down to the bottom side. Cassio keeping the push going. Exile happy to have that tower.
Yeah, and he's going to continue to push. They're going to get 2 for this from Unicorn's left side. I say if you trade yourself for that, that is definitely worth.
Veritas backing off, taking a decent amount of poke there, but as you said, trade very much in favor of Unicorns of Love.
I mean, Baron Buff's still there, so this is actually a pretty relevant push, even though it's an AP character and Cassiopeia split pushing.
Has so much AP under her belt as well, so still does a decent amount to the tower. Half health down. Of course, we mentioned it before, it will regenerate, but one more strong push on the bottom side could break open the inhibitor line for the Unicorns of Love.
Oh, this time it's the teleport.
Can they take down Exile?
They're 5-manning one person at a time. Flash Wolves.
Not going to flash out from the CEC. Content to turn this one around. Olaf cannot be disabled, and they are going to cut down the Casio. Of course, she does some decent damage, but...
So this time Unicorns of Love punished them with a Gromp. So this one is certainly not the punishment that we saw in the first series.
I don't know, man.
The first time, okay, took a lot of punishment. Second time, game plan works for Flash Wolves. This also disrupts the rhythm. There's going to be some hateful words, I'm sure, like, what are you guys doing on the rest of the map? Understandable question coming through from Exile. Maybe not the hate and the words, but regardless, it's going to be some inquisition. And it's two people that have died after a period of basically smothering dominance. So Flash was hoping that can disrupt the momentum they were on.
Double red caught out. Arrow goes in. He's going to go down. Tempered Fate. Mizuchachi's safe now. Not that he wasn't already, but Hylissang just wanting to contribute to the team.
Yep, gets the flash to boot as well, and now they're just going to continue to push up this mid lane here. Baron buff still on them for just a little bit longer. It'll be about 1 or 2 more waves.
Chachi moving in, does get hooked up, but Meganar is available. No flash for him, however. Did burn it in the previous exchange. They're moving in to get the dive down. Baron buff still up and available on Veritas.
Crucially, they've pushed out the bot lane so they can't go and get down to the chunked bottom lane turret and try to take that down. So just brute force for Unicorns of Love in mid.
No Meganar up and available. Karsa does have the Ragnarok as well. Sword Art gets stuck under the wall here, but Echo looking for the side flank. He does have a good setup. That's going to be stunned onto Hylissang as well as move. Hilly gets popped, but Exile is here. He is up. He has the Petrifying Gaze available. Flash Wolves forced to back off.
No summoners from Exile. He did use them despite being almost certain to die, not even pick up a return kill. So double pink wards actually put down off any flanking vision. So cost here, not completely insignificant for Unicorns of Love.
Yeah, it looks like UOL going to go straight for the Ocean Drake. Right after that, try to get a little bit of that back. Spent a lot of time on these turrets, and they're getting them rather low, but you have to kill them.
The one thing that hasn't gone the way of Unicorns of Love has been the Drake RNG. If this had been a couple of mountains, an Infernal on a mountain, that would have really cemented what has been their control on the map. But it being just the Ocean and the Cloud, it's not quite the same influence on the map. We saw how fast they could take the Baron just in a duo without any Mountain Drakes and Infernals. They had some of those. Would have been even faster when it respawned.
He would have absolutely loved some mountains around this time. Able to take those turrets. Those would have gone down.
Sure.
Already able to duo clear a Baron, maybe even solo clear if you pick up an extra couple of mountains, but starting to sound a lot like Achilles. We gotta stop with the Cloud Ocean commentary. All dragons are created equal. Papa Smith, movement
casters
speed.
like they're fire, man. What can I say?
Oh, EU too. EU were definitely not big fans of the Cloud Drake.
I mean, the Cloud Drake maybe allowed Exile to get in range, you know, and start his combo.
Think of what he can do out of combat.
And then get into combat.
Focusing back in as the tier 2 drops on the top side. Unicorns of Love setting up for a siege. A lot of tools to start the fight, but move. Has to be careful. That's a solid setup. Chachi no Meganar available. Exile is stunned up. That's a massive knockup. Sword Art is getting burned down. Exile dealing decent damage to nobody as he's not able to get in, but the miasma is still ticking down. Move is cut down. Double Red trying to make it out. Maple is tanking those shots, but they have to choose. Are they going to die to bow? One shot. Final kill coming in. Exile hungry for more. QSS is out. MFD stunned up. That's going to be the ace on the Flash Wolves. Unicorns of Love tearing down the Flash Wolves.
They finally got the kills. Looked like it would be an awkward exchange because no one could get to move, but they changed target, took down the frontliner. Everyone else falls down, and Unicorns of Love, couple of pushes away from ending the game.
Yeah, and they're going to be able to take down this turret. They have this minion wave pushing up, and it'll probably be the inhibitor on top of it. Just a lot of damage here, and I absolutely love the fact that Exile came from the side when you didn't expect him to come from that angle, and then immediately Maple had to abandon Double Red and let him take that last shot.
Listen, you can die, or he can die.
Or we can die.
Or everybody can die. That's the Exile way. 5, 1, and 6.
And we've been kind of falling over ourselves to praise Exile during the course of this series, but let's also look at Move. A guy so maligned, he's often the punching bag when this team loses. Love the aggression, the mindset of understanding that flashing in there with the damage was going to chunk out the front line. Thresh dies to incidental damage, and even though Move gives up his life, it's the go button that you sometimes need, whether it's Malphite and Silver, or in this case, the flashing in from the Rex side. It does the job. They clean up the kills, and Unicorns of Love knocking on the door of evening up the series.
Yeah, Move has been an instrumental part of this. The comfort pick for himself. Keep in mind as well, this is Move in his first finals as well.
Moving in to take down the Baron now. Should be easy for them to do it. Karsa, no massive mobility tools, does have Smite up and available. Ragnarok 2. Karsa ready to zone them out. Exile. Chachi has the Meganar looking for the setup.
Whoa.
Goes Golden. That's a nice freeze frame, but Chachi now gets stunned up. This could be the potential to turn, but Veritas goes godlike. In comes the curtain call. Double red gets popped. There is too much damage. Double kill for Chachi.
And immediately UOL going to go towards that top lane. The inhibitor's already down. They have a super minion. They might push for the win here.
It's only Rise for Wakefield, maybe a couple of axes from the Olaf. Death time is 30 seconds on the Ashe. This might be the game.
I don't think it's going to be enough. QSS up and available for Exile 2, so nothing is going to stop him from throwing down this damage. Maple doing his best to clear the waves. The super minions are here. Move looks for the knockup. Karsa simply too tanky. Exile hungry maybe for another kill, but Move gets stunned. Move not going to get dropped. Exile locked up. Chachi moving forward. Meganar on the way. The tower is dropping. Flash Wolves are falling down. Flash Wolves are going to lose the second game. Unicorns of Love pull out the comfort picks and pull out a win.
Really great stuff from the Unicorns of Love, and they did it their way. This has always been the case with this Org. They come out, they go for the pick and ban that we question, I think, rightfully so. It looked like there was